Plus, we've got some fantastic photographers because we're joined now by royal portrait photographer Hugo Jones and celebrity photographer Cambridge Jones. And they're here to talk about talking because they've got a podcast called Double Exposure. There's two of them. That's double. Let's expose them. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you, Robert. Lovely to be here.
Yeah, thank you very much. By the way, Cambridge has been looking forward to this forever.
Oh, I'm honoured.
He is so excited about it.
Well, so am I.
Does that suggest he's not?
I am. But you two could be brothers, separated at birth.
Okay.
He's better looking, I'm sorry. Because I was saying earlier on, and people never believe me when I tell them this, but as far as I can remember, it's true, that until a few years ago, and it might be 6 years, it might be 7, when I finally relented and got a mobile phone, until then I had never taken a photograph. I've never had a camera. I've still never owned a camera. My wife, funnily enough, is a photographer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I was a writer, and I was a travel writer, and so I wrote about what I saw. I never felt the urge to try and... I also thought that looking through a lens means you're not living.
But if you're imagine you're on holiday with your wife and she's
I often am.
Yeah. So she's taking pictures and then surely at some point she passes the camera to you and says, "Can you?"
No, she knows me better than that. Hey, she knows it would be a mistake.
I am stunned by this.
No, but I also understand that thing of you're not actually living, you're recording it.
Yeah.
But I very much do portrait photography is what I love, and then I feel that I'm working to give a piece of history, actually.
Whereas I got into it because I have a terrible memory, literally, and so I literally started photographing.
It was an aid memoir.
Yeah, basically, literally. And then, if you do enough of that, you start thinking, oh, maybe I should.
Apparently, people photograph their gas meters with their phones and call themselves photographers.
Well, I photographed my gas meter. That's one of the things I have photographed since I got my phone.
See, multiple uses this photography lark.
But one of the other reasons that I didn't take photographs is because I worked with photographers a lot. As a writer, particularly if you were sent off on stories, there would be you and there would be a photographer.
Right.
And so I always thought a photographer is a professional job. It's not something that you just... I mean, I know there are lots of people who did it as a hobby and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. But so it wasn't that I didn't respect what you guys do. It was, in fact, it was because I respected a lot what you guys did, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Is that out of interest? I'm now going to interview you, Robert. But out of interest, do you think in that time with all those photographers that you... this is a serious question in a way. Yeah. Should we be having you on the podcast to talk about your time through photography?
Yeah, I guess I would. I would have something to say about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, noted.
And so, tell me a bit about the podcast. How did this begin?
Oh, it depends who you ask. If you ask me, I ran out of excuses why not to do it.
If you ask me, we were put together by one podcast company who said you two, and we'd never met. We didn't know each other. We'd met once, and we'd refused to speak because we didn't want to.
Understandable.
Yeah, we thought no, he's going to find me out. Anyway, we did a pilot, and they said this is really good. We don't want to do it, and they said, but we think you've got something, and you should take it to other podcast companies. And we took it to Raconteur Studios, and they went, "This is amazing. Let's do it." And since then, all the only time Hugo and I really meet is when the mic goes on, either talking to you now or in the podcast studio, and that's how we've got to know each other.
So, podcast is something else I've never done because I do this for a living. This seems a bit kind of superfluous to some degree. I do this most days.
This is a job.
This is just about. How does it work? Do you script it? Do you know what you're going to talk about? Do you plan it?
No, at the beginning they did give us sort of scripts and lists, and we sort of ignored them and just started chatting. And they went, "Okay, you can do it."
But the thing is, when you've grown up doing something all your life, the reason why we didn't talk to each other the first time we met is because of imposter syndrome. He's going to find out I know nothing about it. But actually, when you've been doing it as long as we have both been doing it, we know an awful lot. And it's quite fun bantering off each other and actually working out what we do know. And there is simple advice and there are easy mistakes, which if you express them and tell them to people, they can improve their own photography skills. And I know you're not a photographer, but actually
lots of people are.
Yeah, and it's the most democratic art form out there because of the mobile phone. Nearly everyone has a camera on their phone, and so when we talk about it, we try and help people as well as telling very silly anecdotes.
I love the fact it's the most democratic art form of all. Everyone in the world except Robert Elms does it. That should be our tagline.
But so, what as professional photographers, what do you feel about the fact that everyone is now a photographer?
Ooh, that's a good question. Over to you.
Well, on some level, it can get annoying sometimes if you're with someone famous and you're trying to get something, and then everyone around you comes in with their iPhones and it sort of gets the same picture you've got almost, and you think, hang on a minute, this has taken me 20 years of training to get to. But no, and another level, I think it's amazing, and I think Hugo's right. We know more than we think. So when people come up to me and say, "What camera should I buy?" or something, my heart sinks. But actually, we kind of do know what.
Yeah,
to
we
say.
love wacky questions, and my favourite to date has been,
What would your camera?
if your camera could talk, what's the most embarrassing thing it would tell us? And generally the answer from both of us is, why did you leave me at home?
But the other thing about it is what we're not trying to do is be sort of technical and stuff. It's the world around it. So having guests on to talk about it, and it's a testament, I think, to the fact there is an appetite for it. That with everyone we've asked, whether it's David Bailey or Mario Testino or Martin Parr, Dylan Jones, they've all just said, yeah, great, let's talk about it. Which I think suggests that even beyond your lack of taking photos, there is an interest in it, isn't there, as a medium?
Do you like looking at photographs?
I don't mind looking at photographs.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not.
You're a hard audience.
I'm not averse to photo. No, I mean, we've actually got a brilliant collection of photographic books at home,
Yeah.
for example.
Right.
It's funny
I
because
mean, the photographs of Roger Main of Notting Hill in the 1950s is
Love
probably
those.
what I would take to a desert island.
Yeah.
So yes, I enjoy photographs and great photography without any doubt whatsoever.
So we were talking earlier, weren't we, about This Boy and Alan Johnson and that book, and those photos, I think, are going to be a linchpin for that project.
Absolutely. So let me ask you another question about your profession and your skill. What's the most important bit of it? Is it all the technical stuff, or is it how well you get on with people? Because it always
it's a
struck
combo.
me
It's a combo.
The latter is what good photographers are really good at.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, there's different types of photography, aren't there? But for a portrait photographer, I think without doubt, I remember saying this at some point to Hugo, maybe on the podcast, that you've got, everyone can take a photograph because everyone now carries a phone. Some people can take good photos, but if you're doing a portrait, the number of people who can actually do a good portrait, I think, does require sort of human interaction skills. I really like as an interviewer.
Psychology. You've got to understand. You've got to read the room really quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty good at that. But I did once nearly get my lights punched out by a footballer. I misread the room on that occasion.
Well, but the comparisons to this are very real, because as you become aware, we had about a minute and a half before we started talking, in which I had to somehow sort of work you out and sum you up and find out just enough about you to begin the conversation.
Yeah. It is very similar, I think.
Do you know another skill that I think is similar? And this is not to be demeaning to photographers or to me. Hairdressers, for example, have a very similar kind of relationship with the person that they were. Sam McKnight's been on the show, probably our leading hairdresser.
Yeah.
And he says, lots of people can cut hair well or do hair well. It's how well you get on with the people who are sitting in a chair in front of you.
And I think it's a brilliant, because in that moment, and the same's true of interviewing, isn't it? But two things. One is half your brain is on the haircutting or the interviewing or the photography. But the other thing is people always ask us, journalists always say to us, who didn't you like? Who was annoying? Who's difficult? And the point is, when you're being photographed, you don't show your nasty side because we're taking your photograph.
Later on, I can tell you who's been annoying and difficult on this show.
Let's go straight to that.
But also, funnily enough, I don't like being photographed, and I think that helps me as a photographer, because I am so aware of the discomfort of someone holding a camera and pointing at you and not actually doing anything. So you immediately think you're doing something wrong. So when I photograph people, I never
See,
want
I quite
them...
like being photographed.
Do you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because there's not that many people, models, and very few other people do. That's interesting.
I mean, it's not, I don't, walk along thinking, please photograph me.
No.
But when it happens, and obviously because of my job, it happens every now and then.
Do you know what you thought?
I don't
It
have
would
any
be quite
problem.
fun to have a podcast which was actually recorded in the studio of us photographing the same person and putting our own interpretation on it. Could it be you?
and interviewing
Wouldn't that
you at
be
the same
fun?
time.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Because I think sorry, Hugo, to interrupt, but I do think there's an interesting thing, and I wonder whether as an interviewer you'd see this, but I think when I point a camera at you, part of your filters, and it may not be true of you because you like being photographed, but for most people, part of their sort of filter and protection goes out the window because they're so nervous that this camera, and you can ask, I've photographed famous people who've told me things they absolutely should not be telling me because their brain is going, oh my God, he's got a lens pointed at my head.
The similarity with what I do there is that one of my jobs is to make people feel as at ease as possible
Yes.
in this rather, bizarre situation
Yeah.
that we're in. But sometimes that works a bit too well because they sort of forget they're in a radio studio
Nice.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
start swearing or start
yeah,
doing,
yeah,
but
yeah.
because they just forget that they're in
yeah.
the BBC.
Just
and
having a chat.
Because my job is to make them feel as if we were sitting in a pub
But
together.
again, that's reading the room, because some people, you don't want them to be too comfortable because their
Start to
spine
slouch,
bends and they sort of. So some people you need to keep quite tense to get a really good portrait. Again, so you just have to read every individual.
Well, we talk about that on the podcast, don't we? Because I'm all about getting people relaxed, and and you and Annie Leibovitz are like, no, keep them on the edge.
Keep him on the edge.
To what degree, and you mentioned Bailey, and I've known Bailey for years and years
Yeah.
and years. To what degree is one flirting with the people that you photograph?
I think that is going on, and male or
I mean,
female.
male or female.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
mean
No,
that-
absolutely.
not necessarily in a sexual
Yeah,
sense,
no,
but in
I think
terms of
that's-
trying to build some kind of rapport, something. It's,
I'm going to say A, I think it's true, and B, I bet that's true of interviewing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is, because it's a sort of excitement of the moment and kind of getting the best out of them and keeping everybody alert and alive, and yeah.
I'm just thinking my other great love is food, and I'm definitely flirting with the waiters and waitresses when
get
it
the
comes to food, because I'm only allergic to one thing, and that's small portions. And so if I think about it, I'm always trying to make them like me,
Give
which
me
again
more,
is
give me
what you're
more.
doing in photography. You want to get that emotion, because I bang on about this, but a good portrait is all about emotion. So yes, I want them to give me emotion, or give me a really full plate of
It's that
carbonara.
thing you said about some people need to be kind of made to relax and others need to be made slightly on edge. Are you kind of constantly judging where that is, if you see what I mean?
Absolutely. It's like a game of tennis or any other sport. You actually never know in advance, obviously, when the best shot is going to happen. You have to play the match, the game, the set, whatever it is, and know when the best shot's coming towards you and be ready to take it.
It's a bit like jazz, I think. You kind of
You're improvising.
Yeah. If you go in with too set an idea of what you want, it may all go horribly wrong. But if you go in ready to improvise and to go with what they give you, you can get some beautiful stuff. I'm still reeling over this idea that you don't love photography. What about the Blitz exhibition when you went? Isn't that full of photographs?
Some of them of me.
Yeah. So we know how to interest you in photography. But the ones that weren't of you, did they not hold your interest in a sort of historical sense as well? Because that's the other thing photographs do. Over time, they become objects of interest in themselves.
Yes, inevitably. And, there's a picture of my mum and there's very few pictures of my mum and dad. My dad died when I was very, very young.
Right.
But the picture of their wedding is one of the proudest things that I own.
Okay.
And it's a lovely old black and white shot from 1946 and she looks radiant and gorgeous and I love it. And I'm very, very glad to own it. And I have photographs on my wall. I have a fantastic portrait of David Bowie. I have there were photographs I do without undoubtedly enjoy.
They can become family heirlooms.
Photographs of your everyday life are not.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes, yes. No, I do see that. I do see that.
On your podcast, do you talk to war photographers? Do you talk to?
We're talking to Don McCullum.
Don McCullum's coming.
Yeah.
But
have you ever
I have,
interviewed? Amazing man. don't you?
Incredible stuff, man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely extraordinary.
Because I think what we're not trying to do is be just about what we do. We just want to learn about all the elements of it. Can I quickly on Bowie? What's the name of the producer? The Berlin one. His famous producer.
Oh,
he can't do names. He told you that before he went on
The
air.
two of us together.
Don't try and
nightmare.
pick my mind. I'm not good on names at all.
Names,
No,
face,
you both
face.
know.
Tony Visconti.
Thank you. Very good. Hey, come on.
Took me a second.
So I'm photographing Tony in New York, right? And we're doing this shoot, and it's blah 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 blah. And it's just the best ending to a shoot I've ever had, because he just at the end, and you'll love this. He looks at his watch and he goes, "Oh my God, I've got to go. I've got yoga with Lou Reed."
I've interviewed Lou Reed. Believe
Have
me,
you?
you can get tied in knots.
Nice segue.
What do you feel about? I mean, there was a trend, certainly in fashion photography a while back. I think it's probably gone again now.
Yeah.
For really elaborate kind of setups and
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Those very kind of extravagant,
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
really planned, very theatrical. I mean, at the other end of the spectrum, Corinne, who I thought was one of the greatest photographers of hers or any age.
Yeah,
I thought was
beautiful.
phenomenal at
Yeah.
what she did. I mean, don't forget, I worked at the Face for years, so I worked with quite a lot of photographers.
Yeah.
Yes, you really should be coming to a podcast. Yes, good.
So-
I'm glad this audition's going well for you.
So you can get, you've got two absolute ends of the
Yes.
spectrum there. And you're Corinne Day at one end with that kind of grungy, real kind of stripped back photography.
Yeah.
And at the other end of the spectrum, those, I can't even think of the people who do this, but those
No, I know exactly
very
what you
grand.
mean. I, if I'm honest, I have a problem at both ends.
Right.
In that I slightly dislike the stuff that wins the Portrait of the Year stuff now, where everyone looks unhappy and grungy and kind of miserable. Do you know the stuff I
Yeah.
mean? And it's almost the uglier the better. So that's that one extreme, which is not the Corin stuff at all. And then at the other, when it's so elaborate, I sort of
It's theatre.
I list the
And
photographic.
it's no longer real photography.
It's kind of an art-
set design.
Yeah, it's set design, I think.
But it's lovely actually doing all different.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happiest walking around an Indian village or an Ethiopian highland. I don't need a studio.
I've been to the Ethiopian Highlands.
Oh my God,
Never
isn't
took
that-
any photos.
Well, no one will ever believe you that you went there. Just saying.
I've been to Lalibela. And I've been
Oh
to
my God,
Axel,
Lalibela.
and
Aren't they amazing?
Isn't Lalibela incredible?
Yeah, extraordinary.
Yeah.
But you need some photos to
Well,
show
to be
people.
honest-
Wrote about it.
To be
You
honest,
wrote about
it was filmed.
Okay.
I was presenting television programs at
Nice.
that stage, so there was a moving camera.
This is extraordinary place where they dug churches out of the rock, literally cut.
They
it's
go down
mind-blowing.
rather than up. I
And
mean,
no
it's
one knows
extraordinary.
quite how they did it.
No, it's absolutely amazing
Yeah.
place.
In fact, Ethiopia generally.
Yeah, I thought it was the most, oddly enough, I'm going to use this, a term now that wouldn't normally occur to me. I thought it was the most photographable place on earth.
I agree.
Literally,
Yeah.
on earth. I mean, I've been to quite a lot of them. Bhutan was amazing. Colombia's fantastic. But Ethiopia...
Did you by any chance climb the mountain above Lalibela?
No.
We went up in the morning.
I know what you're talking about.
And at the top of that, there were these people in these white robes looking across a mist. And you didn't need to be a photographer.
It's biblical
That's
every
exactly
sense.
what
It
it was.
really
Yeah,
is.
and for a photographer, that's mind blowing. That's exactly what it is. Biblical.
Where can people hear all this?
Double exposure.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
I don't get them.
I know.
But you know what's so
Robert,
funny?
it's time you started.
Because extraordinarily, one of the reasons why it took me a while to say yes to do it is because I don't do podcasts. But we have worked out that we have introduced a whole new market of people to podcasts because people who don't really like them have tuned in because of the photography aspect and actually really quite enjoy it.
Well,
it's quite good for commuting or dog walking or whatever. Just,
a lot of people do it on their way to work, don't they? In London. But the other thing that's weird is they started to film it. I love this, like talking to you because it's filmed at all. No, and I love that. And then, but they started filming ours, and suddenly I kind
With
of
my hair?
no. But then I get inhibited once they turn a camera on because there's something beautiful about a sound only thing, and I say that as people in a visual medium.
You see, you're coming to me. I deal in words, not pictures. These two guys definitely deal in pictures. They're Cambridge Jones and Hugo Bernand, and their podcast is a double exposure. Gentlemen, that was double good.
Thank you.